All right, we're here to talk about why your onboarded commission sales reps are quitting before they even start. Let's jump right in. Hey guys, my name's Jay. We are here with High Ticket Teams. Let's talk about who we are. We help volume-based recruiting businesses build commission-only sales teams at scale. Just for frame of reference, before starting High Ticket Teams, we built a B2B lending company in 3.5 years, 1,800 reps to multiple 8 figures. And we had a big exit last summer to the date of this video. The problems we source, we ended up taking those concepts and we took them out into the marketplace to be able to help other businesses accomplish those types of results, whether you need a couple sales reps a month or whether you need thousands of applicants a day. We have the systems, the processes, and the scope and capability to be able to source those applicants, help vet those applicants, and then put you in a position to qualify sales reps at scale. That's exactly what we do. So let's talk about why your sales reps are quitting before they even start. At the end of the day, everything starts with volume. We have this concept called the law of 100 to determine your stats, your ratios. Just if you own a business, you are a sales and you should be growing into a sales and marketing professional, because a business is transacting with the marketplace. It means collecting money for providing a service, right? So especially in our game, if you're in the high ticket sales space, whether you're a roofing business selling roofs, whether a solar company putting panels on the roof, whether you're an insurance business and bringing on reps to be able to sell insurance policies, whether it's life insurance or annuities, if you're selling cars, it doesn't matter what it is, merchant services, credit card, debit card, swiping machines. Typically, if you operate within some of those businesses, you grow your business with volume-based recruiting to be able to bring on commission-only sales reps into the marketplace, whether it could be locally, just around town. Maybe you have geographic bounds in specific areas that you can actually grow your team, maybe all the way up to nationally or internationally, completely remote. You can bring on, because of what you have in place, you have as many people, you can bring on as many people as you want. So every business is a little bit different. Typically, the more national or international you can go, the easier it is to bring on reps. But every single situation is different. But at the end of the day, it's all the same. Because just like in sales and marketing, you have to know your numbers. You have to have a certain amount of leads to come in the door, or you got those coming through organic methods, or your sales reps are bringing them in, or you're putting money into lead generation or social media ads or whatever. You have leads coming in the door. They go through a preconditioning process. And at the end of the day, a percentage of those leads end up becoming qualified sales. Just like building a business is a sales and marketing game, recruiting has a sales and marketing lens to it. Although you're not selling reps to be able to work for you, you have a similar type of infrastructure or model to be able to precondition applicants. So then you get the highest quality results at the end of the funnel. Okay. So if you've never done this before, or you do this a lot and you don't know your numbers, you've never evaluated it before, volume is number one. I'll tell you a quick story, but I won't take credit for this story, but there was once a mentor and a mentee. The mentee found the mentor and couldn't grow his business. He was struggling. He said, "Mentor, how do I grow my business?" He said, "Do you want to know how I grew my business? I printed out flyers and put them out in the community, and that's how I got leads." He said, "You should go do that." That's what the mentor told the mentee. The mentee turns around and goes, "Awesome. I've got my strategy. Let's go. Let's go into the marketplace and make this thing happen." He went to go print out some flyers. He printed out about 300 flyers. Spent all day putting them around town, putting them on fence posts and all these different places to be able to drive leads. He went home, he sat by his phone and waited. Nobody called. The next day, nobody called. The next day, nobody called. He ended up getting very frustrated. He felt like he did all that work for nothing. And eventually he had his follow-up conversation with his mentor the next week, and he storms in the room and he says, "Mentor, your strategy didn't work. Why'd you tell me to do that?" And the mentor said, what are you talking about? Print the flyers? He said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, talk to me about what you did." He said, "I went out and printed 300 flyers. I put them all around town. It took me all day." He said, "Stop right there. Just to test things, I don't do anything under 30,000. So that was a lesson learned by the mentee, that you need a certain volume, not only to determine how your model can work and how it could scale, but to be able to actually get results. So I'll start with this very, very simple law of 100 to determine your cost per hire, your expected rep attrition, and your rep lifetime value. We have other videos to be able to talk exactly about those calculations. This is not the video for that. Go check out the links or the channels or wherever you are watching this video to be able to find that. But at the end of the day, you need to start consistently. For some reason, there's this number 100 just works, whether it's leads or whether it's recruiting or anything like that. 100 a day. If you can get 100 a day coming through the door, it's going to, after a certain amount of days, you're going to be able to start to identify trends where you start to understand your calculations. Growing your business is not a guessing game. It's a methodology. You're not going to the casino and putting all your money on red and hoping it's a 50-50 chance you make it. Okay. No one should grow a business that way. It's not a guessing game. You need to know your numbers, but before you do anything for the first time, you need to test it. So this law of 100, if you can get 100 applicants in for a period of time to be able to understand how many reps you actually hire, onboard, train, and start to ramp up to quota, you'll be in a good place. Okay. So that law of 100 is important. Quality is found in the quantity. A lot of people try to shortcut the shortcut, try to find the quality on the job boards or this place or that place, running ads, email marketing. However you source qualified reps to be able to sell for your business, you cannot shortcut it. You need to go through the numbers to be able to find the quality. I can pull out 100 metaphors on this, but there is a lot more dirt than there is diamonds, right? A lot more dirt than there is gold in the world, right? The precious resources, there's always fewer of those than the non-precious resources in every type of analogy I can possibly give you. So if you need to conceptualize this in your own mind and you need to come to terms with it, because that you cannot do too much with too little. All that's going to do is breed frustration. So volume is key. That's step one. Step two, you need systems. Everyone's familiar with the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. In recruiting, it stands. In every single type of life event, the Pareto principle, we've always tried to break that rule the best we can, but it is always held true in almost every single capacity. In recruiting, you need a system to help you vet through the curious to find the serious applicants. Okay. The 80%ers are curious. They're willing to apply. They're willing to check things out, but they were never willing to treat it seriously. Even some of people that you've actually hired onto your team have been curious enough that they follow it all the way through and get onboarded with you, but never do anything. Imagine that. It's unfortunate. All it does is waste your time and waste their time. I don't know why people do that, but people still do it. So in recruiting, you need a system to help you vet through the curious to find the serious applicants who will actually take your opportunity seriously. So you need systems or mechanisms to be able to sift through that 80%. So then you could spend your time or your team's time with those 20%ers, because lost or misallocated time is more than money. All of us have heard that term, time is money. The lost or misallocated time is more than money. It's the momentum killer. And killed momentum costs 100 times the money than lost time. Momentum can be your best friend or it could be super cruel, and it changes all the time. And that's why you got to be ahead of it all the time. That's why you need systems in place. Success loves speed. If anything, I'd put a sticky note on your computer right now and just write down success loves speed, because sales reps need community immediately. Listen, I am speaking into the camera, into the mirror. Forget anyone else here is on the line or forget you for a second. I, as an individual, am a salesperson at heart. Okay. And I need community. I need people around me, even though if this is a little bit too personal, but if you ask my wife, and we were just in the house by ourselves for 2 or 3 days straight, I could probably say nothing. And she'd just go, yeah, Jay's a laid back type B personality. He's not the talker. He could sit back and chill and relax forever. But for me to be productive, I need community. Everyone's a little bit different, but most salespeople, even if they say they're fiercely independent and they could do things on their own and they don't need help or they don't need the rock, we all need it. And if you're saying that, you're a failing rep. You're not making as much money as you want. You're not as successful as you want. You're hiding behind your own ego, and your ego does not feed your family. Okay. So that is a personal problem, having that type of mentality, but the right people you bring on are going to need community just as much as you do. And to be honest, as an owner, if you're sitting here watching this video, community makes you better too. It makes you sharper. It keeps your game high, and it keeps you having to think 10 steps ahead of your team. You have to, because we're either growing or we're dying. There's no middle ground. And that is why success loves speed in all aspects of the game, but especially in recruiting. If you have no team, no system, no anything right now, that means you have to pump a lot more money into recruiting at the very beginning to be able to grow a team quickly. If you already have an existing infrastructure, existing team, existing all this, that, and the other thing, you can grow whatever pace you want, because all you're doing is plug and playing new reps into your community that's already built. But one of the hardest things to do is to create community quickly, but systems are the way to do it. Now, you can check us out. We'll give our plug at the end of this, but that's exactly what we do as a business. So systems are important. Onboarding process. If course content and onboarding videos are not doing 80% of your training, all you're doing is spinning your wheels into frustration. And honestly, you're not just frustrating your own individual time, you're frustrating your reps, because they're sitting around going, man, I'm ready. I just got on board with this thing. I'm excited. I did the 5, 10, 15 hours of digging, and I have bought into selling for you. I am ready for this. Let's go. And then if they don't have things to dig into or to check out or to learn from, they're going to sit around frustrated. I would, if I was coming in and to work for your company and you said, you promised this compensation plan and all these things that we can accomplish together, and I come in and I'm just sitting there all day twiddling my thumbs going, okay, I guess my onboarding meeting's in 48 hours. What do I do between now and then? My brain is going to be a roller coaster. Commitment has a shelf life, and the way that you keep that shelf life fresh is by putting new produce on the shelf. You got to keep it going. You got to keep putting new things up there. Otherwise the spiders start putting cobwebs up. Okay. So you got to keep things fresh. Course content, onboarding videos should be 80% of your training. It cannot be 100%. Otherwise you can't tip the scales too far to the other end, or else you're going to go backwards. We all thrive in community. I just talked about that. And if you're not spending time with your reps, if you're not serving them, if you're not helping them, they're going to go find somewhere else. I would. Okay. So even if you have one, oh yeah, that's right. Even if you don't have one, you probably don't have it set up for reps to take immediate action. This is another problem I see a lot with businesses that come on, especially franchises. You buy a franchise because there's an existing infrastructure, and maybe you do have course content, but it's probably not set up with the human psychology if I were taking the course, I am not coming in to sell as a commission only rep to make high level commissions and control my time and energy to be a professional video watcher. I would go work for corporate America and sit behind a fancy salary and go, oh, I've got 90 days to relax till they actually put a quote on me. Okay. But your commission only reps are not coming in to be lazy like other corporate settings sometimes people are in. So you can't just have course content as an educator. You have to have it set up so it incentivizes action. Okay. Incentives when your training won't. Okay. Incentives when your training won't, because ultimately reps, just like you, are going to learn in the doing. The learning is in the doing. You have to get out there. I personally, if I didn't know a business at all and I had to come in and I had to sell for them, I would rather make 100 cold calls with a script and face rejection as fast as I can in a single day than watch videos for 8 days straight. Now, okay. Path of least resistance. As a human being, sure, would I like to just watch the videos? 100%. That's more comfortable. But will I be better off by the end of the week if I made those $100 on day one or watch videos for 8 straight days? Making the dials, the learning's in the doing. But just doing without learning is not productive either. You need something to be able to bounce your activity off of. Meaning if I learn something on how to do something, I go make 100 dials and then I go watch the video content again, I'm going to learn more in a couple of videos than I will with 6, 7, 8 straight days of watching theoretical nonsense. I'm not hating on anybody else's college degree. I'll just hate on mine. It was a very expensive receipt. I learned a lot of theoretical things. I learned more in the first year of my corporate career than I did in 4 years in college. I wouldn't take it away because I met my wife, but I digressed. Okay. You have to define success. There cannot be a gray area. There has to be a clearly defined success roadmap. Success must be clearly defined through company standards and well-defined new rep roadmaps. Black or white, there is nothing in the gray. You cannot leave anything up to the imagination. It has to be exact because you need something to train and coach off of. And I'll cut another video around this, but there is a whole psychology around fixed and growth mindset. Go check out the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. People, especially sales reps, if they can hide behind the gray, just like business owners, they can hide behind the gray, they're going to fall to a fixed mindset and just default to lying and saying things in team meetings just to make themselves look good versus being transparent about where they're at. It's a danger. Listen, you could fool the sales manager. You could fool the owner of the company. You could fool other departments. But if you fool yourself, all you're doing is costing yourself time and money. And that's never what you want your sales reps to be in a place to be. It's not about you. It is about you. Obviously, it's your business. You got to be able to set this up properly so things are clearly defined. If you start to notice that fixed mindset creeping in, you need to nip it in the butt fast. And the only way you could do that is by clearly defined roadmaps with benchmarks. If you're hitting these marks, you're in the black. If you're hitting these marks, you're in the white or red and green or however you want to categorize that. Carrot or the stick, chicken or the egg. Let's have some fun with this. What do you mean by that, Jay? Carrot or the stick? Leadership is spelled EXAMPLE. It is spelled example. Cliche, I know, but it is 100% factual. We all need to look in the mirror every single day on that one statement. Your commission-only sales team is a volunteer army. You need to, as much appreciation as you expect them to have, you need to have double because they don't have to be here working for you. They don't. And if you don't recognize, that's the moment you start losing people, and that's the moment your revenue starts to go backwards and you start to fool yourself. It's not a good place to be. Carrot or the stick. Now listen, I'm the stick meaning fear, right? Threats. Carrot meaning opportunity. If you didn't know what that meant already. Now listen, the stick is warranted sometimes. I'm not saying you can never do it. We all are human beings. We're adults. You can have this example in your own family life. If you have kids, you love your kids. You always want to lead with the carrot. You want them to chase opportunity just like you do because you're a very ambitious person. But listen, sometimes the stick there has to be clear set boundaries. There are certain things that just cannot happen. Okay. I'm not saying you cannot have the stick, but I'm talking about theoretically from a leadership perspective as an example. Okay. So that's my disclaimer for everyone who's watching this video. If you cannot discern through what I just said, just throw it away. Don't worry about this segment, but this is something you need to learn eventually. So your sales team, whether you have one person or 10 people or 20 people or 1,000 people, if they're commission only, they are a volunteer army. They can only be pulled and not pushed. Now, I'm not calling them wet noodles, but if you guys have ever cooked spaghetti for your family, if you try to pull a wet noodle, you can pull wherever you want. If you try to push it, it gets really weird. Okay. Weird. Okay. Just deal with me. Weird example. Okay. But it is what it is. You now just picture that weird example and it'll stick with you all day long. So you're welcome. So volunteer armies are pulled. That means they follow your example. They follow your leadership. They follow your attitude. They follow how on your game you are. Okay. In sales leadership, if the stick works, it's temporary. Your best people will eventually quit because we all work hard for a short period of time to eventually not have to work as hard. That's why we pursue commission only roles. That's why we pursue entrepreneurial endeavors. That's why we're human beings. We're ambitiously lazy. Right? We want to work very hard for a short period of time to be able to live unlike other people live. And some of you who might be watching this have a compensation plan that puts that rep in a position to actually accomplish that. Some of you, maybe it's a harder compensation plan. Maybe it's just a period of time. I don't know what it is, but either way, the best way to lead with the carrot, just picture that old cartoon with the donkey walking or the horse and The guy has the stick hanging over the donkey's head with a carrot hanging. That horse is following the carrot. Okay. We all have carrots in our life. This is not manipulation. This is leadership. This is leading people down the right roads. All of us follow what is promoted and what is ahead of us. So we all want to work hard for a short period of time to eventually not have to work as hard. What does that mean in commission-based sales? That means leads and promotions. Those are the two biggest things. Either you have a team infrastructure where somebody can rise through the ranks in leadership and become a manager, or from a setter to a closer to a department head, or whatever the case might be. Maybe some people have that in them to want to accomplish that. Maybe the others just, if you don't provide leads right now, maybe they'll work really hard to eventually get some leads. Or if you do provide leads, then maybe they'll work really hard to get a good close ratio, so then they get more leads. Either way, those create a path of least resistance to be able to accomplish something more successful than where a rep is at currently. With that being said, that's what I have for this video. Super, super quick recap here. So if you do not, if you want your onboarded commission sales reps to stick, to meet quota, to start to grow with your organization, now you're going to still have a certain level of attrition no matter what. But if you want the right ones to stick and to be able to grow with your company, you need to make sure that you have the proper volume, you have systems in place, you have the proper onboarding process that can take the right rep and help them actually produce properly, get them out of their own way. And you need to define success and have the right mechanisms in place, the right carrots in place, so that they want to stick around. And you're right, Ron. Never saw a resume sell a policy. That is the truth. The resume does nothing. Honestly, in commission-based sales, the resume is meaningless. I've seen the average Joe teacher that's been an elementary school teacher for 15 years, all of a sudden, for some odd reason in their life, they're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And they jump out and they do something different because it just pulled at their spirit and they're ready to go. And they become the biggest thing that they've ever been. And I've seen some of the best sales talent in the world that talked the biggest game that I thought they were going to be the best thing ever, just fizzle out after a week. You just don't know. You cannot judge the character of a individual, of a person. They have to choose it. So with that is how you onboard reps and help them get to quota so they do not quit.